By 2025, AI-generated content will account for over 90% of all internet content. Let that sink in for a second. Not some of it. Not most of it. Over 90%. And the creators behind that content are not humans sitting at desks, drinking coffee, and brainstorming ideas. They are algorithms, language models, and generative systems that never sleep, never burn out, and never ask for a paycheck. So what does that mean for the people who have built careers, audiences, and entire identities around being content creators? That is exactly what we are about to dig into. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to find out how AI content creators went from a novelty to a genuine industry force, which platforms are already being reshaped by this shift, and what the data says about where this is all heading. And here is the part that most people completely miss. The rise of AI content creators is not just a threat to human creators. In a twist that almost nobody is talking about, it might actually be creating an entirely new category of opportunity. Stay with us, because that part changes everything. To understand where we are today, you have to go back to around 2017. That was when a research paper called Attention is All You Need introduced the transformer architecture, the backbone of nearly every powerful AI language model that exists today. It did not make headlines outside of academic circles at the time. But that paper quietly set in motion a chain of events that would eventually put AI-generated videos, articles, podcasts, and social media posts in front of billions of people every single day. For a few years after that, AI content tools were clunky, obvious, and mostly useful only for filling in boilerplate text. Think automated sports recaps and stock market summaries. Useful in a narrow sense, but nobody was mistaking them for human creative work. The outputs were robotic. They lacked voice, nuance, and the kind of storytelling instinct that keeps an audience engaged. That was the ceiling, and for a while, it felt permanent. Then came GPT-3 in 2020, and things shifted fast. Suddenly AI could write with surprising fluency. It could mimic tones, build arguments, and generate content that passed casual inspection. Marketers noticed immediately. So did media companies under pressure to produce more content at lower costs. And so did a growing group of early adopters who started quietly building content channels powered almost entirely by AI tools. But here is what nobody talks about from that era. The early AI content channels were not transparent about what they were doing. They pumped out videos, articles, and newsletters without disclosing the role of AI in their production. Some of them grew to hundreds of thousands of subscribers before anyone asked serious questions about authenticity. By 2022 and into 2023, the tools became exponentially more capable. DALL-E, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and 11 Labs entered the picture. Now AI could generate images, voices, and video scripts with a level of quality that genuinely surprised even the people building the technology. Text-to-image became text-to-video. And channels that once needed a full production team of 8 or 10 people could now operate with one person and a monthly software subscription. Consider what that means for the economics of content creation. A traditional YouTube documentary channel might spend between $5,000 and $15,000 per video when you factor in research, scripting, voiceover talent, video editing, graphics, and promotion. An AI-assisted channel running similar content can produce the same output for under $500. That is not a 10% cost reduction. That is a 90% reduction. At that scale, the competitive dynamics of the entire industry change overnight. The numbers back this up. As of 2024, there are estimated to be over 700 AI-generated YouTube channels with more than 100,000 subscribers. Across social platforms combined, AI-assisted content accounts for billions of impressions every single month. Some of the most watched explainer channels, financial commentary pages, and news summary accounts you follow without thinking twice are operating on AI-first pipelines. So who is actually winning in this new landscape? The answer is more interesting than you might expect. It is not the pure AI-only channels that are dominating. The biggest winners right now are what researchers are calling hybrid creators. Human creators who use AI as a force multiplier rather than a replacement. They bring the creative direction, the editorial judgment, the brand voice, and the audience trust. AI handles the heavy lifting of research, drafting, and production logistics. The result is content that comes out faster, at higher volume, and often at higher quality than either humans or AI could achieve alone. Think about a channel focused on global finance. A human creator might be able to produce 2 videos per week if they are working hard. A hybrid creator using AI research tools, AI script writing assistants, and AI-driven thumbnail generation can produce 2 videos per day. Same audience. Same trust. 5 times the output. The algorithm rewards that kind of consistency, and the ad revenue and sponsorship deals follow. But here is the deeper question that this moment forces us to ask. What is the actual value of human creativity in a world where AI can simulate it at scale? And this is where the analysis gets genuinely fascinating. Studies on audience behavior are starting to reveal something counterintuitive. Viewers are not automatically turned off by AI-generated content when they do not know it is AI-generated. The quality threshold is what matters. But when audiences are told a piece of content was made by AI, their perception of its value drops significantly, even if the actual content is identical to what a human produced. This is called the automation bias penalty, and it has huge implications for how creators brand themselves in this new environment. What this tells us is that the human element in content creation is not just about the work itself. It is about the perceived relationship between creator and audience. People do not just consume content. They connect with the person or entity behind it. That connection carries emotional weight, trust, and loyalty that AI, at least right now, cannot replicate on its own. This is exactly why the most strategically sharp creators are not trying to hide whether they use AI. They are being upfront about it while simultaneously doubling down on what makes them distinctly human. Their opinions, their experiences, their failures and breakthroughs, their specific point of view on the world. These are things no language model can genuinely generate because they require a life to have been lived. Platforms are also responding to this shift in complicated ways. YouTube has introduced AI disclosure requirements for content that uses synthetic media in ways that could deceive audiences. TikTok has similar policies. But enforcement is inconsistent, and the tools for detecting AI-generated content are struggling to keep up with the tools that generate it. This creates a regulatory gap that is currently being filled by platform guidelines that are mostly unenforced and audience skepticism that is still developing. The advertising industry is watching all of this closely. Some brands are specifically seeking out AI-assisted content creators because the cost per impression economics are attractive. Others are building brand safety requirements into their contracts that require disclosure of AI usage above certain thresholds. The industry standard here is still being written in real time, which means creators who establish credibility and transparency now are building a significant long-term advantage. Looking ahead, the trajectory is clear. AI content creation tools will continue to improve. The cost barrier to entry will continue to fall. And the volume of AI-generated content on every platform will continue to increase. The creators who will thrive in this environment are not the ones who resist the technology or the ones who outsource everything to it. They are the ones who learn to work alongside it intelligently, who protect and amplify their human perspective, and who build trust with their audiences through genuine value and transparency. The rise of AI content creators is not a story about machines replacing humans. It is a story about a fundamental shift in what it means to be a creator. The tools are changing. The economics are changing. The competitive landscape is changing.